So TUDOR has just announced a new release, and not just one watch, but two. Now, I knew that something was about to drop, but I really wasn't expecting this. So I wanted to do this quick video to give you my thoughts on these new releases, but I also wanted to talk about the timing of this drop, because I think that's really interesting, but more about that later. So TUDOR has just announced two new Pelagos FXD models, launched to celebrate its partnership with yacht racing team Red Bull Alinghi Racing. Now, they carry over many of the features from the original FX'D for the Marine Nationale launched in 2021, including the fixed lugs, which of course is where the abbreviation FXD comes from. But there are also some important differences. Straight away you'll notice that the colours of these new FXDs are very different to the original. They feature a matte blue dial with red accents, a black bezel insert and a black case, mirroring the colours of the Red Bull Alinghi Racing team. And similarly, instead of a titanium case, these new FXDs both feature a carbon composite case and bezel insert, which references the carbon fibre hulls used by racing yachts, while the bezel itself, the crown and other hardware remain in titanium. Now, when I say other hardware, what I'm basically referring to is pushers, because you see, one of these two new FXDs is a chronograph. That's right, for the first time we now have a chronograph in the Pelagos model line. Whereas the time-only watch uses a 42mm case and the same MT5602 movement as the original FXD, this new chrono has a 43mm case, and inside it is TUDOR's MT5813, which is the same chronograph movement you'll find in the Black Bay Chrono, like the S&G version that I've got, and it's based on the Breitling B01. The bezel on these watches is bidirectional, and it features a countdown scale rather than a dive scale. The intention is that these watches could be used as a regatta timer to count down to the start of a race. Both watches come on a single-pass fabric strap, with a Velcro fastening like the original FXD. This time it's in dark blue with a red stripe, to match the Red Bull Alinghi Racing team colours. The three-hand watch has a retail price here in the UK of £3,070, and it's available now, while the chrono is priced at £4,250, and that one will be available from mid-July. So what are my initial thoughts? Well, I loved the original Marine Nationale FXD when that one was released, and I came really close to buying one last year. But I tried it on, and I just felt that that 42mm case was just a fraction too big for my skinny wrists, and it almost felt like that fabric strap could have wrapped around my wrist more than once. One of the things I really loved about that watch was that we were told that it was developed by the Marine Nationale for Navy divers, and that those fixed lugs were part of their precise specification. It was a watch designed for a very specific purpose, and developed in partnership with an elite fighting force, and for me that is such a cool backstory. I really like the colours of these new versions, and I love the fact that TUDOR has used a carbon composite case. I mean, that's really cool. And it's just over £3,000. I mean, that's killer value. I'm actually really surprised that TUDOR has priced this significantly under the price of the original FXD, which is still available. But with this new one being used for Alinghi Racing, for me it sort of calls into question the story of how that original Marine Nationale version came to be. Somehow it just doesn't feel as special anymore, or as authentic, and I actually think I'd be really disappointed now if I'd have bought one of those original FXDs. But putting all that to one side, based on the looks and the specifications alone, I think these new Red Bull Alinghi Racing versions are really cool. It's great to see TUDOR continuing to experiment with new materials, and also that they're expanding the Pelagos line. I can really see these being a big hit for the brand. And I think that's why these new models have been launched now, rather than at Watches and Wonders, which, let's face it, was only a matter of weeks ago. You see, I think had they have launched them then, they probably would have stolen the show, and there would have been people talking a lot more about TUDOR's releases than about Rolex, and that just wouldn't do now, would it? But what do you think? Tell me in the comments. Did you see this coming? Do you prefer these new versions or the original FXD? Oh, and don't forget to give this video a like. Cheers.